and this is brought to you by the book Surviving Georgie, the only book I think that's ever been published that's been endorsed by people that focus on the family and at Saturday Night Live. And the bishop of the Amish community said, maybe the perfect family book. So you can find it on Amazon, some of your local bookstores. You can go to survivinggeorgie.com. This morning we're going to do the first live video podcast ever. I've been told I have a face for radio, and I'm on the radio every day. It's called Tea with George. You can go to teawithgeorge.com, and there you can download it, listen to it as many times. If you can even subscribe to it. But today we're going to talk about something non-political, really. It's on the common English phrases that we get from the flintlock. The flintlock, I have one right here, like Daniel Boone used. Flintlock it really played such a big part in the taming of America in the Revolution. We had rifled barrels, whereas the British, they had brown betties, and they weren't rifled, and they weren't very accurate. Well, the guys that had these things, and I've shot this many times, got a great many deer with it. It shoots a very long distance, and it's very accurate. Very powerful, too. I taught Shakespeare for a while, and I taught how many phrases that we use now that came from Shakespeare, like to catch a cold. That's from Shakespeare. But a lot of people don't know how many phrases came from the flintlock. The Second Amendment, by the way, a lot of people say, well, the Second Amendment was written when only the flintlock was the was the firearm. They say, so it only applies to flintlocks. Well, this is being broadcast on a computer here, and there were no computers back then. So is the First Amendment only for handwriting or speech? It wasn't for the internet, it wasn't for YouTube, it wasn't for any of those things. Before we begin this, I'd like you to introduce you to my friend, Mike Troxel. Come on camera, Mike. I've known Mike for I've known Mike for a number of years. First, come on, stay here. I met him. First time I met him was at a Tea Party speech. He gave the first Tea Party speech, I think, in America. One of them.
Well, certainly here in Lynchburg. Anyway.
Here in Lynchburg, anyway. Yeah. And when I met him, he had two black eyes. And there was the old joke: what do you tell a guy with two black eyes? Nothing. He's been told twice. Anyway, I said, where'd you get those black eyes? He said, cage fighting. Well, he's still at it. Anyway, Mike is my technical assistant here helping me with this. And so let's talk about the flintlock for a little bit. And this won't take all that long. And Mike, you can go back to where you were now, unless you want to say something to the audience here.
No, I'll leave that to you.
You want to? Okay. The flintlock. How many phrases do we use in the English language that came from the flintlock? Well, let's begin. Here we have the lock. The lock consists of the hammer, the frizzen, and the trigger. This is the lock. And then we have the stock, the wooden part you hold against your shoulder. And we have the barrel. So what do we use in the English language today? If you've got the whole package, well, we say you've got the lock, the stock, and the barrel. And then we have the hammer. When you cock the hammer, that means you pull it back. There, it's pulled back halfways. What happens when it's pulled back halfways? Nothing. You don't want to go off half cocked. You want to bring it all the way back so that when the flint strikes, there is a spark. See the spark? And then we have the notion of the powder. Powder won't work if it gets wet. Keep your powder dry. There's two triggers on this. You have, let's cock it all the way. You have what's called the set trigger. You pull it first. And then for extreme accuracy, you have the hair trigger. All you have to do to make this thing go off is to touch the hair trigger, just the slightest touch, and it goes off. Don't mess around with that guy. He's got a hair trigger temper. And so, the last one on the flintlock is going to be something that I think we're going to have to turn this around and go outside for this. Let's put this back, the frizzen back this way so the flint can't strike it, and half cock it, and put in a little bit of primer. These are the primers that the pioneers use and modern flintlock people use now. And you put it into what's called the pan. Right there's the pan. And you cover it up with the frizzen. Now it won't come out. So it's in the pan, and something good could happen here, or not. Let's see. Can we turn this around while we go outside? Ah, good. Okay, so the camera, the page just went blank.
No, it's all good.
Filming?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, I hope you can see this. Now, if you bring this back and cock it all the way, and it strikes the flint,
Point it down.
and it strikes the primer. Oh, dear me. Nothing happened. It was just a flash in the pan. So that's where that term comes from. You had smoke, you had noise, you had a bright light, but it didn't set off the main charge. Nothing actually happened. It was just a flash in the pan. A little bit like Obama. We thought he'd do a lot in office, but he didn't do anything. He was just a flash in the pan. Not very effective. Let's go back in. Almost all my podcasts are going to be about a minute or so. It's going to be my tea time radio spot. But within the tea time radio spot, I'm going to add a little historical references, some pictures, things of that nature. But this first one, I just wanted to do something fun on how the flintlock became so much a part of our English language. Thanks for watching.